3, 2, 1. Hello friends, welcome back to 7 Days to Die in-depth modding with RongoTheBold. So today, besides the fact that I've got a snowstorm and a smoke storm and a sandstorm happening behind me, and I have working things over there, besides all of that, what I'm focusing on today, new zombies. That's right. But we're going to start off something that's not quite a zombie, but it's definitely something you might run across in the world should you choose to install the Rongo mod pack. So what is it you say? I think it's already killed me once. It is, well, there's actually two of them. There's a feral pig. So feral pigs are just like regular pigs, only they like to attack people as well. There we go. Killed that feral pig. They will also attack zombies, which is kind of cool. Now they've got, in my world, I've got them set up for about a 20% chance of a feral pig instead of a regular pig in the spawn. But of course, you can always modify that. And I'm actually going to show you guys in this episode how to create your own zombies based off of existing zombies, of course, and how to adjust the spawn file to have them appear. So the second zombie, or second thing I'm going to spawn in here, is the Razorback. The Razorback is a boss pig spawn, basically. A boss feral pig. It has a very low 0.01 chance, so basically a 1% chance of spawning in the world. And it's a good thing, because watch this. This is reinforced concrete. 1, 2, 3 hits to go through a layer of reinforced concrete. It wants out. Now this thing has a lot. There is no head hitbox on a pig, so you're just as fine hitting it anywhere. It doesn't really matter. You've not heard that may change in the upcoming version. Now let's see if I can kill it before it gets out. Oh, it wants out. It wants me big time. There we go! See, that's all it took. That's all it took to kill it. It's got a nice big loot box. You get all kinds of stuff out of this. So you can get rare weapons. Basically everything that feral pig might have eaten. So bullet casings, gunpowder, doorknobs, meat, all that good stuff. So it is pretty badassical. Now the other two zombies that I created are less fearsome. There's the ground hornet. The ground hornet is stuck to the ground and it can't go that fast. It can attack you though and sneak up on you. Die already, jeez. So not too bad. Yeah, there we go. Got my honey. And then the last one that I created was the zombie hot dog. Now the benefit of the zombie hot dog... Ooh, I've got something wrong in the model file. With the zombie controller. There we go. Well, I may have something wrong with this because I should be on fire. I must not have I must have goofed something up in my last save. Yeah, I goofed something up there. So we'll take a look at that as a test. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and pop out of 7 Days to Die. Switch over to my lovely editing tools. So we're going to be working with a couple files. So in our Steam apps, common, 7 Days to Die, or in my case, my copy of just for prefabbing and modding, data config directory, you'll find these files. We're going to be looking mostly at entity groups, items, and entity classes, and I'm not going to worry about spawning as much, but entity classes and items. So, entity classes is where all of the zombies are defined. So I want to kind of go over these files a little bit with you so you guys can understand what's going on. So first thing we can see right at the bat, this is any zombie hot dogs. This is my custom zombie. Now it extends zombie 041. So basically it inherits all of the attributes of zombie 04, which is defined up here at the very top, zombie 04. So this is where everything is, the basics are defined for how a zombie should behave. And when you create a new zombie, you can basically override any of these properties with a new version in that sub-zombie, and it overrides these values. So for example, if you don't want to have it attack humans, you could set AI task 4 to wander, for example, and then get rid of AI task 7. And that would basically mean that it would not attack humans anymore. Interesting, right? Obviously, it likes to go with break doors, so you could even change it so that zombies don't attack doors. Interesting. Their second attack is to break block. Okay. And then some basic information. So a mesh basically is the zombie itself. It's like the skeleton for the zombie. Model type zombie, ragdoll enabled, trues. This is what it follows. It goes wing. The prefab for this is NPC, which I'm not sure exactly what that means, but basically it's just that way of the system handling it. It's got a class of entity zombie, and this is used for attacks and things like that. So the game knows that it's a zombie, basically. It's in the parent class of enemies, so all enemies belong, or all zombies belong to enemies. And then avatar controller is avatar zombie controller. This is what controller controls how the zombie moves. So this is the movement class, basically. So these AI tasks, you can have more than 7 if you want to, but basically each one of these has a value. Like they're territorial, so they look around them 10 blocks out. So you come across that, they'll spot you. Breaking doors, breaking blocks, approach and attack target, entity player, approach and attack target, enemy animal stags. They go after stags, or anything with a class of enemy animal stag, and I'll explain that. Actually, we'll do it right now. So animals are defined down here, and class enemy animal stags for the stag, and pigs are in the same class as that. So that's how it defines. So it'll go after pigs or stags, but it won't go after rabbits, for example. All right. So the player itself is defined in here as well. So this is your starting information about the player, and interestingly enough, if you want, this is something you could do in your own game. If you want your starting guy, when you start a new game, to have different equipment, right here is how you would define that. Now these are all in the on the tool belt, so you only had those 8 slots, so keep that in mind. But you can add any items from your items XML file into this for single player or multiplayer, and they would appear. Okay, or if you are a server admin and you don't want people to have keystone files, you can just remove keystone, and they won't have keystones when they enter the game. So keep that in mind. And these are my equipment slots, etc. It's a female version, very similar. And yeah, good enough. Okay, so back to Zombie 04. You get your basic max health, viewing angle for how far they see it. Basically, it's half a circle around them. Their basic weapon which is hand zombie, and that's defined in the items XML file. Their weight, so this is basically they walk across some blocks, how much weight is being put on those blocks to impact things. Here's what they're immune to. They're immune to sickness, disease, bleeding, or wellness, so that means you can't do a bleed attack on these guys. If you took that off, they could be bled out. You can adjust their base speeds. Wander speed is just their random wandering speed. Their approaching speed is when they see you and they start coming after you. That's that wander speed. Night, they're a little slower at night, just or same speed wandering around, but they approach 1.1. That's their faster movement speed. So 1 is basically full player speed, so a little bit faster than the player. And panic, I'm not sure what defines panic in the game. Can climb ladders property set to true. So all zombies by default can climb ladders. And is the enemy entity? Yes, it's true. What particle effect? You can turn them into wood if you wanted to. Walk type, you can play with that. I'm not sure what they all are. You can just kind of look at them. Some of them have that hitch in their step. And again, you can make a little table up of it's like, okay, this zombie walks this way and he's got a walk type of that. So therefore that's the hitchy step one. I haven't paid that much attention, honestly. Sounds, these are the sound files that are played. So if you want to change a certain kind of sound they do, you could swap them out between other, or just take it out completely. So they don't have a death or an attack or an alert or whatever. Time stay after death. If you want your zombies to stick around longer at a performance hit, you can increase this value. Just keep in mind, the more things the game has to remember, the slower things might get. So if you want them to stay around for a little longer, like 90 seconds, that'd be no problem at all. Attack timeout, how quickly things time out, and their loot list. And this loot list on death goes to the loot.xml file table, and you would see, starting from around here, what items would be pulled in loot. So for example, this on default has a loot list of 15, and over here, loot list of 15 is junk, a group of junk, and a group rotten food. And then you can go up here and look for that group. Here we go. So rotten food includes rotting flesh, jam sandwiches, only breads, etc. And you can always add these counts and probabilities as well. So those are settable. Corpse block on death makes a gore block. 100% chance of that. And you get 100 experience points for killing this base zombie. Now, you can see, for example, the feral zombie. So here's zombie feral. It inherits zombie 04. So all of these properties get automatically in this. So anything in here just overwrites the sound that appears. So for example, it's got its own mesh file. It's got its own sound. And it's got its own walk type. And it's got different hand items. So this hand item is hand cop zombie, which is a tougher attack. Got a max health of 2,800 hit points. And it's got a faster approach speed. Now, by default, the approach speed is like 0.8 or 0.6, I think. I think it's 0.6. I've doubled that, so even during the daytime, it runs. I think a feral zombie should be badass. So I have increased the speed of that, and you will see that in an upcoming video on my single player. I'm a little bit ahead right now. But in the next week, you will see exactly what that is like. Experience gain, I did up the experience points a little bit here because I did make them a little tougher. And their loot list on death, again, referring to this loot.xml file. And you look down here to 61, and you can see they would get military guns and ammo and gun parts, probabilities. So pretty good size. And also, just so you can see this, count 1 to 3 means it goes through this thing from 1 to 3 times. So it hits this, it says, okay, give me a number between 1 and 3 inclusive. Let's say it draws 2. So it says, okay, I'll loop through this twice. Okay, does that make sense? So it'll hit this, and this might have multiple items that can be drawn. So, and it's a probability of that happening 0.1 times, and then if it doesn't hit that, it'll try this probability, boom, back around. And then size 3x3 is the size of the loot box that opens up. So it's got a big, it can hold up to 9 items if everything randomly assigned properly. And you can see some other things like my Razorback loot. It's got some badass loot. It's like the feral, plus it's got pig stuff and junk and rotten food. So that pig, man, it eats all kinds of stuff and it drops a lot of loot. But it's tougher than a feral zombie. All right, back at it again. So the feral, again, it's got its own walk type, higher health, wander, all this kind of stuff. So when we go down and look, actually, let's look at hand cop zombie just so you can see what the item is like. So we'll go over here and we'll do hand cop zombie. Okay, so here is the cop. Now it has 2 attacks, action 0 and action 1. The feral doesn't use action 1, so no worry about that. But the general thing here is that it's got a melee class weapon. A delay is how fast it can do it. Range, that's how far out it can hit, about 2 blocks. Block range, when it's attacking blocks, is 2.5 blocks. And it does 20 points of damage by default. So basically at full health, 5 hits and you'd be dead. With no criticals or any, bleeding, nothing else happening. Damage to block is 5 points. And as a sound starts, swoosh sound when it starts to hit. Then it's got some buffs it applies. It applies bleeding, infection, and stunned. So if you have multiple effects happening, you put a comma between them. So these buffs are all defined in the buffs.xml file, which is up here. And I will be coming back to buffs.xml later on. But basically in here, you could find infection as a buff. Those are buffs that are applied. Back to items. And then buff chance down below is the percentage chance per buff. So again, comma separated. So it's got basically a 20% chance of a bleeding effect, a 7% chance of infection, and a 70% chance of stun. That's why stunning is so freaking hard these days. They really upped the stun chance. But you could have changed that if you wanted to. If you wanted to remove that stun or lower the odds, you can go into your items XML file, find hand zombie and hand cop zombie, and lower that number. Now they've got a damage bonus to glass of 25, but for example, my piggy, let's go down here to piggy, hand razorback. So he's got his own kind of hand. Does a little bit more damage to blocks. It only does bleed damage, 20% chance of bleed, but look at that, 5 times that. So it does 40 points of damage to dirt, 64 points to metal, stone, and wood. So it just chews through your walls, your spikes, your defenses, your concrete like a boss. So these guys are bad-assical. So anyway, that's my hand razorback. I also have a delicious ham sandwich in here. I should change the name to sandwich. I really should. So now we've got zombies defined. Let's take a look at my custom zombie, Razorback. Razorback actually works. It's the feral pig. So feral pig, as you can see here, feral pig has got 100 health. So it doesn't have much, but the Razorback, 3,000 health, 200 more than the feral. Plus it runs fast. It's just a badass. It is set to go after players and then zombies, zombie dogs, and zombie crawlers. So this thing will go after everything, and actually will choose the nearest zombie to go after, which is kind of cool. And then if you attack it, then it goes after the player first. And it'll chew through a horde of zombies, in theory at least. Okay, zombie hot dog. Let's look here and see if we can spot anything that might have caused its issues. Oh, that's it. I had a see. I have Ava. I have this weird. Must be when I copy and paste in. I had that in there, so that basically controls that. So this is my zombie dog controller. This basically makes it move and fall over and all that kind of stuff. So health that. Now it's got its own hand zombie hot dog. And I don't need this anymore. I was trying to make it throw up, and I just could not. It would do the animation, I mean the sound, and do the attack. It would stop and do the attack, but no projectile would happen, and I could not figure it out. I am baffled why it's not working. So if anybody knows, let me know. I've got some. I've done it before. I did it before in Alpha 10. So I don't know if they've done something to tie a different class to something or whatnot. Anyway. So let's go back over here to our items. And let's look at hand zombie hot dog. So it should have maybe it's just lucky. It has the burning. Yes, let's bump it up to an 80% chance of burning just to see if we get it. Let's go back in the game, and then we'll go back and we'll look at the entity groups file so you guys can see how to add these new zombies into the world. Give me one moment. Okay, so we're back in the world. I've enabled debug mode by hitting tilde, then typing DM. I'm going to hit F6 to bring up my zombie spawnificator. Come on, buddy, hit me. Make me burn. There we go. All right. And now I'm going to die. I didn't realize I didn't have any health packs in my hotbar. Silly Rongo. What's up with that? There we go. All right, so let's look and see where we are going. Ah, there we go. Teleport. All right, so we know it works. We'll go ahead and lower that percentage down because that's way too much. Now, I'm not going to talk about these right now, but I want to show you guys. Sinks? Sinks? That's right. Working sinks. Yeah, pretty easy stuff. I'll talk about those in another video with more items and things like that. And I'll probably even talk about these smoke stumps and stuff, because these are just the regular smoke stumps that you get in the game. And you can see here I've got, it's kind of hard to tell, but I've got smoke and snow and sand all happening. And this rabbit is really just insane. Oh, this gun is broken. Yeah, the gun's broken. All right. Yes, let's go back to our the actual how to get your zombies in the game. So we've defined them in entity classes, and now entity groups is where you'll put them in order for them to appear in the game itself. And let's actually lower this down a little bit more. They are scary, man. They are scary. So there are classes, groups of zombies. So all zombies. Okay. I didn't want the special zombies to appear in there, or at night in the basic. So these are basically your basic nights, basic wasteland, but then you've got wasteland at night. So in here I put in my ground hornet, probability 0.05, and a zombie hot dog 0.05. So these are, again, times 100. So 5% chance of a yeah, grounded hornet or a zombie hot dog, and I also doubled the chances of feral zombies because I'm a sadist. Sadist. Wasteland 2, same thing. And I'm going to do that. And then a horde. Scout. This is where your scouts are. Spider zombies are in there, so you want more things in your scouts. You can get them in there. Snow zombies, feral bosses. What happens in a cave. And then for animals, if you create a new animal class, like at farm animals, there's a 100% chance of a pig. And basically what it does, it goes through this list. It doesn't have to be, it won't automatically pick 100%. It should pick some ferals as well. And it does actually pick some ferals as well. And then animals big. In the big animals, I get a stag or a razorback, low percentage chance. Actually, let's go lower. And then the all group, we've got the feral pig and razorbacks. So those are my additions into the game. And I haven't added my grounded hornet in here, but I shall. Grounded hornet, and I'll give him, yeah, 2% chance as well. And I think in my zombie dogs group, yep, in my zombie dogs, I added the chance of getting a hot dog in there. So cool. Makes all sense, I think. Now, to know how these get applied to the world, because it goes zombies into the groups, and then groups into spawning. So in spawning XML is where you will find all of your, like in the city, respawn delay, city wasteland. Let's say for example, you want to be able to clear the city. Go in here, put 1. That means it'll stay clear for 1 day. Makes sense? So I hope that makes sense. And then so each region is set up that way. So in animals respawn after 5 days. Zombie bosses respawn after 0 days. Zombies wasteland, nice zombie dogs, etc. They have a chance of spawning dead, 10% chance of spawning dead. So each of these is all set that way. So if you wanted to modify those things, you could. Now, there are also territorial dog barns, dog junkyards. These basically say how many, what days, and how many. Zombie dog group, anytime, no delay between spawns. You got 4 zombies alive. So let's see. Let's look at what happens in the caves. Because I've been wondering about those because it seems that they don't ever. It says three days to respawn after a player leaves that cave area. So I'll check that out a little more farther. So here's different size spawns that get triggered. Large spawn, for example, all zombies. 15 alive at a time, 15 per wave. Spawn crawler. Now down here a little farther. Okay, dynamic spawners. So these are by day. So if you want to have it a certain day, certain things happening, that's what you could control. So for example, on day 6, you get zombies night are happening at night. And you get 4 waves, total per wave 45 max. This is maximum value, with 30 of them alive at any particular time. Day 7 spawn. Day 8. So you'll get a little tougher and tougher as time goes on. Now, these horde meter dynamic spawns, these are the hordes that are spawned by your campfires, etc. So in here you can modify these. Again, it's groups, what time of day or day, night, any. How long between spawns, how many alive at any time, how many per wave, between 1 and 5. And then you've got your roaming horde spawns at night. Very similar. night hordes on day whatever, but day 7, 14, 21. So these are your big. You always get that zombie wasteland night until day 49. That's when it gets tough and becomes day zombies wasteland night 2. So over here in your groups, you've got your zombie wasteland night 2, which has these in it. It has a higher chance of things. So a lower chances of the weak ones, and a lot more chance of dogs and hornets and vat zombies. Yeah, chances of getting a lot of these things are much higher. So zombie, just the percentage chance is different on day 49 versus day 42. Here's your scouts. And it used to be 4. It used to be 4 of them. Now it's down to 3 of them. So they must have adjusted that. So there's only 3 per wave now. But you could have 2. If you have 2 waves of them, that's when you get that 4th one out. And you can set it to be total alive 4, and total waves. There's a setting for total waves. You just copy that down there from one of these other ones. Number of waves, set that number of waves to 2, so it would spawn 3, wait for a little bit, and then spawn the 4th one. That's why in earlier versions of Alpha 11, you get 3 zombies or 3 spiders, and then 1 would come a little later. It had 2 waves. Hopefully that makes sense. This is old legacy stuff. So I hope that's helped a little bit. New zombies, how to use groups, how the items, like the hands, are applied and how they get damage applied to them, and then how entity groups are used in spawning. So hopefully all that made sense to you guys. I'm still learning lots about it. Like I said, I couldn't get puking to work. I don't know why. It should be working, but it's not. Get the animation, just don't get a blob being shot out. So if you guys know how to fix that, let me know. Otherwise, if you like this, comment, surprise, what? Comment, click that like button. And, if you guys want me to cover something more in depth, let me know. If you guys want me to try making a certain kind of zombie, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you all later. Bye-bye. Oh, wow. Wow, what a huge cavern.